want to continue with Libya. Now, Russia reportedly stepped up efforts last month to recruit Syrians to fight in Libya alongside the warlord Khalifa Haftar and his forces. Russia, of course, a staunch ally of the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. The Reuters news agency says hundreds of mercenaries were signed up in May and adds that they were hired by the private military contractor, the Wagner Group, under the Russian army's supervision. Now, neither has commented, and a spokesman for Haftar's self-styled Libyan National Army denies recruiting Syrian fighters. Turkey, on the other hand, has previously confirmed that, yes, some Syrian rebels, which it supports, are in Libya to fight with forces on the other side, of course, those loyal to the UN-recognised governments. It's a bit of a puzzle, which we're going to piece together now with Wolfgang Pustay, who is a security and policy analyst on Libyan affairs, was previously Austria's defence attache to Libya, and he's on Skype from Vienna. Wolfgang, thank you for your time. The first thing is these claims that the Russians were hiring Syrian mercenaries through this group, the Wagner Group. Now, as I said, neither side have commented. Do you know anything further about that which lends weight to that argument?
Well, it is correct that the Russian private military company Wagner attempts since several months to hire Syrians as mercenaries for the fight in Libya. For the time being, they have not been very successful. The appetite of the Syrians to fight and die in Libya is rather moderate. I don't have any evidence that Syrians showed up in front of Tripoli during the Battle of Tripoli. And for the time being, I don't see any evidence that Syrians showed up in Sirte. Actually, the backbone of the defense of Sirte are not any foreign mercenaries, but troops from eastern Libya, which did for the time being not participate in the battle in Tripolitania. Nevertheless, it is not unlikely that several Syrians are already in Libya. Probably they are used for some security purposes further in the depth of the LNA-controlled territory.
So what it amounts to, though, is this sort of replicating of the sides and the allies in Syria in a different theatre of war, doesn't it, in Libya?
Yes, actually, from a Syrian government point of view, they tried to get rid of some of the militias which were just really recently defeated and now are more or less loyal to the Syrian government. It is in their interest to get those people out of the country and preferably to use them up as mercenaries in in Libya. But what we need to keep in mind is that the performance of the Syrian mercenaries in Libya, also of the Syrian mercenaries brought to Libya by Turkey, is not the best one. Just the first group of mercenaries, which arrived already in January, February, had a good combat performance. They were quite highly motivated. They were trained as a combat unit. Everything else which arrived later on had a rather poor performance. And this is probably the same with the Syrians which are now hired by Wagner. This is the reason why neither the pro-GNA forces nor the LNA is currently using them in the Sirte area on the front lines.
And on that note, regardless of who's on who, so what is your take on what we've been reporting on today on the retreating forces of Khalifa Haftar? He's been pushing on for Tripoli since, gosh, April of last year and now very much in retreat. Do you think there's any way back for him?
Actually, the superior forces and weapons and technology of Turkey made it clear from the beginning, from January, that the situation in Tripolitania will end with a decisive defeat of Haftar. And this is actually what happened during the last days. While the LNA managed to withdraw from Tripoli in a more or less orderly way, they broke entirely up before reaching the city of Tahuna. Just some remaining elements of the LNA made it back to the south and broken up also to the east. What is now going on in Sirte is a defense which is, as I just said, more or less based on units which are fresh units which were brought forward by the LNA from Cyrenaica to Sirte. But please let me stress, I believe that the battle in Sirte will continue because this is a decisive battle for both sides. For the pro-GNA side, it is crucial to get into the oil fields of the Sirte Basin. The people who fought with the Benghazi Revolutionary Shura Council and the Derna Mujahideen Shura Council against the LNA and lost against them in the cities of Benghazi and Derna, they are eager to return. And maybe even most important, for Turkey, it's crucial to occupy also the eastern part of Libya, or at least to keep the whole of Libya together under a central government in Tripoli. Because if they are not able to achieve this, they can forget about the maritime agreement between Libya and Turkey. If there is a split off of Libya, a breakaway part of Libya in the east of Libya, they can forget about this agreement, which is of vital importance for the Turkish economy.
Wolfgang Pustay, I'm going to have to leave you there. We've got some other news to get to, but thank you so much for your expertise. We do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.